I want to start this video with straight from algebra tiles, and I'm going to look at x divided by 2 equals 4. So there's x. If I split it in half, just get rid of the other half over here somewhere, I've got half an x, or x over 2, is equal to 4. So we'll put a line down the middle, and now on the right hand side I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, if half x equals 4, then a whole x should be twice that, right? There's a whole x is like 2 of those, or twice that, so I'm going to multiply both sides by 2 in effect. And I'm going to say, okay, now on the right hand side, instead of 4, 2, 3, 4, I've actually got 5, 6, 7, 8. So if a half x equals 4, then a whole x should equal 8. And visually that makes sense, because each of these is worth 4, so 2 of them would be 8. Okay, just did it with algebra tiles. Now I'm here where I can write on stuff as well. And so I had half of an x is equal to 4. That's x divided by 2, or half an x. It's the same thing. If half x equals 4, then we can intuitively see that a whole x would equal 8, right? We doubled it because we wanted, instead of just a half a pi or half an x, we're going to have a whole one. Same thing on the algebraic side. We're going to get the idea that we're going to multiply this side by 2 and put brackets around it. And I'm going to multiply this side by 2 and put brackets around it. If there's no times symbol written in between, it actually means multiply. Now we can think 2 divided by 2 is 1. And we're just left on the left hand side having an x, and on the right hand side we've got 8. I like to put a box around the outside. So think about this, 2 divided by 2 is equal to 1. Like we did before, where we were zeroing out pairs with positive 1 and negative 1 made a 0, we're doing the same kind of idea in multiplication or division, where we had 2 divided by 2 is 1, and now we're left just with x on its own, because that was our goal, to have x on its own. Okay, very similar question then. If I've got a third of an x, I'm trying to make it so it matches up here. So it's a third of an x, or x over 3, same thing, is equal to 4. Then what would a whole x? Well, we need 3 of these, right? So 3 thirds, if I want to do it that way, I could say, well, each of them is going to be another third. Now I've got 3 thirds, which is the same as a whole, and each of those are going to be worth 4. Okay, so each of those thirds is worth 4, or altogether 1x. Okay, replace those thirds of x's, so 1x would equal 12. So basically I've multiplied each side by 3, so I get all 3 thirds, which is the same thing as 1x, and that adds up to being 12. Let's do the same thing on the algebraic side. So I've got x over 3 equals 4. I really want x on its own, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply this side by 3. I'm going to multiply this side by 3, and we know 3 divided by 3 is just 1. And so I'm just left with 1x, but I don't want to write the 1, so x is equal to 12. Same on this side, x equals 12. Okay, we're going to look at a two-step problem again, the same kind of idea as before. I've got x over 3 plus 1 equals 5. So remember, what we can do is we can get rid of 1 from this side and get rid of 1 from this side to balance out. And now we're left with x over 3 equals 4, and that's the same as the last question. We're going to say, well, if a third of x equals 4, then we can say, what does x equal? Well, x must equal 4, 8, 12. We're going to do 3 groups of these, so I'll just type that in. So now if a third of x equals 4, then a whole x must equal 12, because I'm going to triple each side. X equals 12. Same thing on the algebraic side, so let me put a line here. So first off, I want to get rid of the 1, so I'm going to minus 1 from each side. And now I've got x over 3 equals 4. I don't want to deal with the multiplication or division stuff until I get rid of the addition and subtraction stuff. We're going to find out in a while that we're going to do it like order of operations backwards when we're doing our solving. So now I've got x over 3 equals 4, and I want x on its own. So if a third of an x equals 4, then a whole x. To get a whole x, I need 3 of these thirds, because 3 thirds is the same thing as a whole x. So whole x is equal to, well, if I multiply the left side by 4, I better be fair and multiply the right side by 3. I multiply the right side by 3, and I get x equals 12.